Goodbye and Good Riddance is a project filled with Juice WRLD's insecurities as a young man trying to find love in his life, also somebody who is fighting through substance abuse, and a young man again who's just trying to figure out what his own self-worth is. The album as a whole really feels true to its era from that like SoundCloud emo rap wave era that was really big about 5-6 years ago now. And to be honest, looking back on the project and especially some of the lyrics, listening to it, it is a little bit cringy now as we're, removed from that era. It's kind of like if a sad Bart Simpson edit was personified into an album, or like on TikTok when everyone talks about being a popular loner, except everyone in the comments somehow relates to it and everyone is a popular loner. So if everyone's a popular loner, is anyone really a popular loner? But whatever. It kind of feels a little cringy and corny absorbing this album, in all honesty, in this modern era, especially in comparison to where I am now versus where I was when this album first came out. But none of that really matters because at the end of the day, this album will forever be a banger to me and will always hold a place in my heart.
It's okay to express the way you feel. Nobody's gonna shove you in a locker.
To have a wake-up call is one thing, but to apply that to your life and change your life is another.
Make sure that you're aware of your potential, and make sure that you know that we're all human beings. We all on the same earth. So with that being said, you can achieve anything, if not more than what you see other people achieve.
My message to the youth is to be strong no matter what you're going through. If you need help, seek help. Whether if you want professional help, seek help, and surround yourself with people that'll help you, that'll listen to you, they got your best interest.
What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I Used to Be Pay, and today I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm just going to be giving kind of my own personal testimony about the album Goodbye and Good Riddance, and really what that album means to us as a generation, us speaking on the people who were around listening to that stuff back when it first came out. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. It helps me out a ton. This video is a personal testimony about Goodbye and Good Riddance and really kind of Juice WRLD as a whole. So how I'm going to start this off is how I discovered Juice WRLD. See, to me, Juice WRLD and Fortnite are very much tied together. And I know that's kind of ironic to say now because Juice WRLD is in Fortnite, and that is very weird to me. Like having a guy that passed away in Fortnite doing like emotes and stuff. Very strange concept, but that's something I can talk about at a later time. But regardless, Fortnite and Juice WRLD are very tied in together. And I'm going to date myself a little bit by saying I was in high school really before Juice WRLD took off and as he took off and had the peaks of his career. I was in high school for that entire run. And for the TikTok generation of kids, they're going to call me Unk in the comment section for that. And then like for the people that are regularly on YouTube, they're going to say you're 12 years old. But regardless, I was in high school for Juice WRLD, and Juice WRLD took off around the same time as Fortnite. So I tie them heavily together, especially because I discovered him via Fortnite, because I used to watch the streamer Tfue a lot. And Tfue was better than Ninja back in the day. I don't care what anyone says, he killed him head to head. Tfue was better. But Tfue had All Girls Are the Same, one of Juice WRLD's biggest songs, and at the time, his biggest song as his sub notification, I believe, on Twitch. So I would hear it all the time, over and over again, over and over, at least the hook of the song, I believe. And I just kept thinking to myself, what is that song? Like, I really like it, but I've never heard anything like that before, and I never really listened to music that kind of sounded like that up until that point. So I was trying to find it, and I looked up the lyrics. Eventually, I found it online, and I went to Juice WRLD's SoundCloud profile, and he had two really big songs at the time. Well, big in comparison to the rest of his stuff. All Girls Are the Same and Lucid Dreams. Now, neither of these songs had took off to the point in which they would down the line, but they were both really big. And personally, I just preferred All Girls Are the Same over Lucid Dreams. Still do to this day, but that's besides the point. I was trying to put my friends on. I was playing his music in the locker room, and people were looking at me kind of strange. They were like, I don't know about this. This is a little weird. This is like kind of emo stuff. I don't know. It was kind of 50-50. It was either hit or miss with most people. And a lot of people just, they weren't really too enthusiastic about it. But one thing that was really crazy was that I didn't know what Juice WRLD looked like for a long time while listening to his music. And then one day I went to his Instagram and I realized he was black. And that was just mind blowing to me. That was not what I expected when I heard his music. I thought that he would look like, like Blade or something, or like maybe like Netspin. Like I did not expect this black guy with dreads who's a little, heavy set in the middle. Like, I did not expect that whatsoever. So that was kind of crazy, but that doesn't really matter for the point of the story. But Juice World really started to take off at the end of 2017 into 2018, around the same time as Fortnite. Like when Fortnite started really going up, that it was when Lucid Dreams became the song. Like Lucid Dreams in the early parts of 2018 just went stupid. Like I always thought that All Girls Are the Same was better and deserved the love that Lucid Dreams got, but whatever. Lucid Dreams was the song that really introduced him to the masses. And then from there, he was out of there, right? He was Juice World. He was one of the top guys in the industry pretty much from that point on, up until he died. And as I was writing this video, I realized how young he was. Like, I know it's easy to say, oh yeah, he passed away young. I believe he passed away at 21. But like, when you're 17, when you're 16, when you're 18, and somebody passes away at 21, especially a celebrity, that just doesn't really click how young that is until you get that age or beyond that age. And then you're just like, man, like that guy was a baby. Like, I didn't know anything. I don't know anything right now. So to see that happen is really, really sad. But that's just kind of my personal story as to how I got into Juice WRLD. And then going into the summer of 2018, we get Goodbye and Good Riddance. As a teenage boy, or really just a teenager in general, there's a very good chance that you're going to go through some growing pains in the finding love department. And most guys in this stage of life experience their first major heartbreak or major rejection. And to them, this album was a godsend. Broken, scorned lover music has always existed for men in the hip hop space. Literally, just look at Drake. He's been the top guy for so long now, and that's the exact type of music that he's made up until this point. But the more emo topics and sounds was new for hip hop, at least to the extent at which Juice WRLD was doing it, where Juice WRLD is using trap beats and he's singing on the songs, but he's singing much more akin to a My Chemical Romance rather than like a Jodeci. This mixture of what would be known now as like traditional emo music and rap was quite refreshing for teens during this time. It was a really big wave on the internet as well, and SoundCloud in particular. Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, Trippie Redd, and XXXTentacion all led this subgenre of emo trap music that blossomed into an online movement. This space of music wasn't one that was commonly tread by black people or by hip hop up until this point. Being into like emo music or like goth aesthetics was kind of frowned upon in like the black/hip hop community. It wasn't like frowned upon, but like you would get made fun of for it, kind of similar to like anime stuff like 20 years ago. You would get made fun of for being into that type of stuff. But there was an audience there waiting for this type of music to enter the space. There was a large group of people who actually really did like this stuff and was waiting for the hip hop world to kind of embrace it. Alongside that, there's also obviously a massive fan base that already exists for emo rock type of music, and a lot of those fans are also casual rap fans. So this was like a perfect blending of these two audiences together, and there was just a massive group of people kind of waiting for them to hear the music that they wanted to hear. There was a massive group of people that were there to be taken advantage of, so to speak, with this exact type of music that Juice WRLD was going to be making. And in my opinion, Goodbye and Good Riddance is the magnum opus of the entire subgenre. To start off, I believe this is Juice WRLD's best album, and it has maybe one skip, in my opinion. When you talk about authenticity in music, people oftentimes talk about like street rappers and stuff like that, but you can really feel the authenticity in Juice WRLD's music on this album. This album feels like you're literally opening up Juice WRLD's personal diary and just reading all of his secrets. And the production really ties everything together with that mix of like modern contemporary tribe sounds, at least for that time, and the mix of like some of the guitar and more rock sounds to create a little bit of separation from Juice WRLD and what was going on with the rest of rap at the time. And in terms of his voice and his singing on this album, Juice WRLD's not the best singer in the world, all right? He's not. But his voice is perfect for what he's trying to portray here. He's not hitting notes like The Weeknd or anything of the sort, but you can really feel the pain and the emotion in his voice. As a teenage boy whose, crush didn't like him, or like, he couldn't get the girl he wanted, like, this album was perfect for me. Like, personal anecdote again, I used to play basketball in high school, and we had a trip during the summer where we would go to Gonzaga University for this little tournament, but that's besides the point. I remember that's when I really first started listening to this album fully, and this was over the summer, and it was perfect. It was everything that I could have possibly wanted. I remember listening to this music on the bus ride to the campus. I remember walking around the campus and just thinking I was in a music video the whole time while I was listening to it. And, personally, I think at that time is when I found out like this girl had a crush on, didn't have a crush on me, and she had a crush on like my teammate, and it was devastating. All right, this was the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life, and it was the worst thing that was ever gonna happen to me. And this album was perfect. Okay, little high school me who didn't know how to handle his emotions. This album was amazing. Okay, literally just an emotional thrashing out and threats and all that crazy stuff, just over the top dramatics that are filled throughout this album is a perfect solution for teenage heartbreak. When I found out that she didn't like me and she liked him, that song Used To on Goodbye and Good Riddance was my anthem for like the next 2 or 3 weeks. The lyrical content of the album is some of the most depressing, insecure, toxic, heartbroken lyrics ever. Like when you think of like typical emo rock music, no one loves me and I'm gonna kill you if you don't, like that type of stuff, this is exactly what this was. And if you were only to read the lyrics to these songs, you would have no idea that this was a subgenre of hip hop. Told her if I die, I'ma die young. Every day I've been getting fucked up. Finally know the difference between love and drugs. Shawty tell me I should really sober up. I've been through the ringer, trying to put a diamond ring on her finger. She loved drama, she be watching Jerry Springer. Next thing you know, we all on Jerry Springer. I play love games, but no, I'm not a cheater. She hate it when I sip codeine. I'm a leaner, the devil on my shoulder. Keep on telling me to keep her. Should I take her out or should I take her to the cleaner? Love don't end good for me, no good for me. She's good for me, too good. These hoes love playing me, heartbreaking me. Don't pray for me, just bring me drugs. Bring me drugs. I've been drinking and driving and surviving. Take my sorrow and bury me alive in it. Wear your best dress, girl, cause you gon' die in it. Bet you regret the day that you lied in it. Crash the car again, goddamn. Break my heart again, goddamn. I don't have no friends, goddamn. I'm alone until the end, goddamn. Crash my car again, goddamn. Break my heart again, goddamn. I don't have no friends, goddamn. I'm alone until the end, goddamn. Obviously, All Girls Are the Same and Lucid Dreams are the two biggest songs from this album, and honestly, still two of the best songs of this album. But this album has a lot of bangers, okay? A lot of bangers. Lean With Me might be the perfect encapsulation of what the emo rap wave of SoundCloud was 5 to 6 years ago. Like if I had to pick one song from that genre to perfectly just illustrate to somebody who's never heard any of that music what it sounded like, I would pick that song. A song like Wasted is absolutely amazing, and it's the only feature on the project, and Uzi absolutely kills that feature. And I'll never forget the bar, tats in the middle of my head like I'm Avatar. That's the reason why I ride on my oppas. That's an amazing bar. Never gonna forget that. A song like Used To, again, which I mentioned earlier, is an amazing track, an amazing song. A song like Candles is literally the perfect anthem for like a brokenhearted teenage boy. And the song End of the Road became my anthem in high school. That if I had to pick one song that I probably listened to the most in high school, that was probably the song that I listened to the most. Just because I didn't name a song doesn't mean that I don't like it. Really, the only song that I don't enjoy that much is Hurt Me. Now, if I were to give this album any critiques, I would say that there definitely was a bit of repetition on this track. Like in terms of sound, yes, but lyrical content, particularly, like if you're an emotionally mature person and didn't grow up on Juice's music, I can see this getting tired. You can only hear him rap about, depression, drugs, heartbreak, and death in similar ways with similar wording so many times. If I were a parent and my son or daughter was going through, heartbreak or some sort of emotional hardship, or even if I was my parents and I knew that I was listening to what I was listening to, I definitely wouldn't let them, all right? Because if you're going through some sort of emotional time that's really hard for you, some sort of personal insecurity, some sort of heartbreak, some sort of even substance abuse, this album is probably not very healthy to listen to. But as a testimony to how a lot of teens really felt at the time, this album is perfect. And that's why my generation loves Juice WRLD so much, or at least did love Juice WRLD so much, because he was so real. It felt so real. Everything he did came off as authentic. I know when people hear, oh, that rapper's real or that artist's real, they like to think of street dudes who really be like that in the streets. They're not just studio gangsters. But Juice WRLD and everything that he rapped about and said, unfortunately, was real. All right? The heartbreak, the depression, the drugs, all of it was real, and we all felt it. Pain rap has always been something that has been really successful in rap for a long time now and is still super successful to this day. Just look at the success Rod Wave is having. So there is an audience. Juice is just taking that type of music a step further here and being as toxic and depressing as possible. With the internet expanding, more and more black kids were exposed to spaces that they normally wouldn't be. Emo music really being one of them. That's how we end up with guys like Uzi being a fan of Marilyn Manson when he was an up-and-coming rapper. Goodbye and Good Riddance will age as a classic for a lot of people my age because of how fresh it sounded at the time and how represented we felt we were in the lyrics and the messaging. All right, now not necessarily the drugs, all right? Most of us, not me. I don't know about you, but not me. Not the drugs, but in terms of like the heartbrokenness, the insecurities, and really just the spitefulness as a whole, we kind of felt represented there. And being able to make us feel that way while also still having your own style and your own wave that was signature to this generation is why this album will be so significant to a lot of Gen Z listeners going into the future, Gen Z hip hop listeners. This is kind of going to be our thing. Like if you weren't our age and in tune at the time, you're probably just never going to get it. And with me saying that, be wary, because a lot of the younger listeners of hip hop now are going to go back and listen to this stuff. And we're going to get made fun of a lot. I'm not going to lie. All right. It's kind of cringy. It's kind of corny. The lyrics, the over exaggerativeness of the lyrics, the doomerism in the music, just the overall Bart Simpson sad edit energy that's in this album is going to get us clowned. All right. It is. It's just the truth. Just embrace it. It's going to be okay. So they can make fun of us. Older generations can make fun of us, but it doesn't matter because this project's always going to hold a place in my heart and a lot of the Gen Z listeners as well who were listening at this time. So that's going to be the end of my video though. If you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. It helps me out a ton. I go by the name of Pay. Peace.